Hi, my name is Darren Katz, and I am Senior Marketing and Community Manager at Piranha Games.
So, Darren, we have a lot to talk about today regarding Mechwarrior 5, most noticeably your Heroes of the Inner Sphere DLC.
Yeah.
Can you talk about this DLC and the new modes that you're introducing with it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot with the DLC. There's quite a few updates in the base game, and then the DLC just brought so much more to the gameplay. There's a new career mode, so you don't have to do the campaign if you don't want to. You can just start off fighting for one of the great houses as a mercenary unit, and you can pick any spot in the inner sphere that you want to start at. Each house offers different value in terms of what mechs you start with, how many C-bills, which is the currency that you start with. There's new career paths, so you find cantinas and certain market systems where you can kind of find some shady quest givers that will give you certain quests that help you basically build up upgrades and tweaks to your mechs and make them more powerful as you progress through the various career paths. There's new mechs, there's new missions, hero mech missions that are really fun. There's the new procedural mission called Beachhead, which is amazing. New biome, extrasolar moon, new weapons, new equipment, just new. Lots of stuff in the DLC. It's a fun addition to the game.
There's so much that you've updated both on console and on Steam, but most notably the crossplay that you've introduced. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is exciting. I've been a gamer for a very long time, since I started playing Pong, back in the days when my dad let me play. And I've always had my best experiences playing with friends, no matter what, whether it was, hanging out down at the arcade, or these days when you're able to play, either PvP or co-op with your friends. And so I think bringing co-op to Mechwarrior 5 was huge. But what makes it even better, like you mentioned, we released on Steam, we released on GOG, we're on Epic Game Store, Microsoft PC, Xbox. Doesn't matter what platform you're on there, you can cross-play with your friends. So you can always form a unit and play with your friends, which, it's the game has also been rebalanced in terms of difficulty and the economy. And it can be pretty challenging. I've started a new campaign myself, and there's some missions that I get stuck on, or I have a really difficult time. I can call up or message some of my friends. They can come in and take over one of the pilot or all three of my remaining pilot slots, and we accomplish the mission much easier and faster. So it's just a great experience, and especially what I'm excited about is people being able to play on Xbox and be able to play on PC and play with each other. So yeah, it's really, I think, one of the pillars of Mechwarrior 5 is being able to play with your friends no matter what system they're on or where they purchased it.
It's funny just because I don't want to talk about this too much, but I think gamers today, especially if you're growing up in today's world, is like PCs are standard in households now. Consoles have gotten so exciting, like they're almost spoiled, because crossplay wouldn't even been a discussion 15 years ago. Hell, 10 years ago it wasn't even a discussion. And now we're doing these incredible things cross-platform and on multiple ways. Being able to play anywhere with anybody is really an achievement in onto itself.
My daughter has no idea how good she has it.
Right.
I remember trying to connect with, Mechwarrior 2 when that came out with my friends on a dial-up modem, and, just never knowing whether the connection was going to work or not. Now you can play with all your friends across all platforms, no matter where they are. You have good communication with voice comms, and yeah, it's just, it's a great time.
And on top of that, like, you even kind of go one step further. Not only do you have crossplay introduced, but you're also opened up no DLC gating. So now if someone has the DLC and you don't, I can still play with that person.
Yeah. We feel very strongly about the Heroes of the Inner Sphere content. It's a great addition to the game. And so it just completely made sense to us to not gate those people and let friends experience the DLC with whoever's hosting it and decide for themselves. And it just has totally made sense, and the community has taken it really well. So yeah, I mean, if you don't have it, just find somebody that does, and you can check it out.
And then also, like you said, there's so much to talk about. Customizing your mech's a big part of the Mechwarrior universe. Can you talk about some of the new things you're adding in this DLC that people will be able to attach onto their war machines?
Yeah, so customization, a lot of veteran Mech Warrior players will tell you that half the battle takes place in the Mech Lab before you even go to battle, or that's half the game. For me, that's certainly true. I love when you find a specific mech chassis that you really like and you want to stick with for a long time, fully customizing that mech to exactly how you want it to be. Some people prefer, close range brawling type setups where they, charge into the battle and it's short range weapons that do a lot of damage. Some people like to sit back and, throw missiles or long range weapons and, not be so vulnerable as far as charging in the battle. So you can totally customize your mech in terms of a loadout that is suitable for your type of gameplay. So that would be changing all the weapons. You can, add or remove armor to make space for other things, or be more tanky if you want to. You can, your heat management. Heat management is a big part of Mechwarrior. So if you have too many weapons and not enough heat sinks, which help manage your heat, then you're going to overheat all the time and shut down. So you can add more heat sinks so that you can shoot more often, etc. But with the DLC Heroes of the Inner Sphere, we've added new equipment like ECM, which is electronic countermeasures, BAP, which is Beagle Active Probe, another kind of electronic countermeasure, Mask, which is like a supercharger turbo, so your mech can go super fast for a short time. So just a lot of equipment that you can customize, and then also the look. Obviously, you can change patterns, you can change colors, and just a lot of customization that I appreciate. I do spend half my time in the Mech Lab myself.
Are you able to upload? I mean, back in the day, you used to be able to upload your own custom pictures or files to your mech. Are you able to do that yet on Mechwarrior 5?
You can, yeah. So modding is a big part of this, and I know we'll get into that here in a second. But one of the things that you can mod in is your own logo for your dropship, so that when you're flying through space, you can see your own logo on there. But so far, nothing on the mech I haven't seen. But sky's the limit with modding.
Yeah, so that's a good segue into our next thing. You have a huge a thriving mod community for Mechwarrior 5. Can you talk? And I even saw that someone created an RTS like top-down isometric game with the mod. Talk a little about this.
Yeah, so modding to me is really the most exciting part of Mechwarrior 5. There's a lot of stuff that's really cool, but the modding to me, like I've played a lot of games like Skyrim and Fallout 4, where it was all about the mods, right? And so we've completely opened up full mod support for Mechwarrior 5. And that means you can do everything from, simple, and I say simple, but of course the mod builders would argue with me as far as how simple things are, but small mods like changing your HUD, changing the speed of weapons or the damage of weapons, or the size of your mechs. There's mods for that rescale the mechs. There's a lot of just general modding that is really cool and people put a lot of work into. That's really exciting. That just changes the general gameplay or the feel of the game. But then you go to the other end of the spectrum, and there's at least 2 full conversion mods that are being worked on right now by 2 separate teams. One is one which you just spoke about, the Mech Commander Mercenaries mod, which is, it's basically, if you remember the old Mech Commander series and Mech Commander Gold, and it's a top-down real-time strategy. You drag and select your mechs, and you tell them where to go on the map. And the team is just doing an amazing job with that, and it's going to be a really great release when it's fully released. They do have it working, or they did before the new version of the game came out. One thing is that as the new version came out on Steam and had all the updates, there's a little catching up that the modding community has to do in order to get all those great mods back out there again. But I would totally suggest checking out the Mech Commander Mercenaries mod. And then there's another one called Living Legends 2, which is a full PvP mod. So a lot of those people that you'd mentioned that you had some questions about when we were going to update Mechwarrior Online to the Unreal Engine. Well, not likely to happen, but one thing that is happening is this Living Legends 2 team is developing a full PvP system They've already got it working, and you can also play as the helicopters. You can play as the tanks. I believe they're bringing in battle armor, so little, infantry in souped up armor. So it's going to be, like I said, sky's the limit with modding, and these full conversion mods are just insane. So I'm very anxious to see what the community does with all of it.
And just because I think it's worth talking about, I mean, obviously you have a good relationship with Microsoft and with the crossplay. Where does that leave modding on the console side of things, on the Xbox One X and stuff like that?
Yeah, I don't know what the future of modding is for us on Xbox. It's not currently available. I know that there are a few titles on Xbox that are compatible with modding. I know that modding is super important to our team and to Mechwarrior 5. So I hope that we can bring it to the Xbox, and all those players can experience the same joy that we get as PC players.
And then leading into that, obviously a big request that we talked a little about before the interview was VR support. What can you tell us about VR support as far as Mechwarrior 5 goes?
Yeah, Mechwarrior, for a lot of veteran players, there's been, I've been playing BattleTech and Mechwarrior, this franchise, for 36 years, which ages me, but you can tell by looking at me. And so I have been around this franchise for a very long time. And a lot of the players view this as basically a sim, right? A mech sim. It's a slower paced first person shooter than, say, your Battlefields or Battlefronts or whatever. And so I absolutely 100% understand the desire for VR. And I would love to. I've experienced VR in Mechwarrior Online, our other title. So while we don't currently have VR support, if there's enough market demand, or the people above my pay grade make that decision, then I would be 100% supportive of seeing VR support in our game. And I know already tons of players who are ready to go with that if it ever happens. So, basically, fingers crossed. I would love to see that happen.
So basically, in short, if they want VR support, they can let you know on your forums and on Twitter and stuff like that, and let the developers know. Yeah,
they do every day, every week. So we're totally aware. But like I said, it's above my pay grade. I would love to see it come to Mechwarrior 5.
So speaking of that, what do you think it is about the Mechwarrior franchises? How did it withstand the test of time all these years?
Man, that is a big question. It started off as a tabletop in '84. That's when I purchased it. There's over 100 novels in the franchise. There's, tons of games, whether you're talking about the old BattleTech video games, whether you're talking about Mechwarrior games, Mech Commander games, the recent BattleTech from Harebrained Schemes, our Mechwarrior Online. There's just so much content out there. There was even a cartoon in the 90s. There was an old Mechwarrior BattleTech cartoon in the 90s. And so I just feel like there's so much content and so much history. Obviously, it was entertaining enough to stick with a lot of people. If I had the recipe for how it became the franchise that it is, I'd be creating my own franchises. I don't know. I fell in love with it in 1984 and haven't looked back. And I know a lot of other people that are in the same boat.
So as far as Steam, people on Steam, they have the Steam Workshop and the mods we talked about. That. What do people on console have to look forward to with this major update? Is there anything visually? Is it a visual update for them? Like, obviously the crossplay is a big deal on console.
This is the first time it's been on console. So we haven't had a Mechwarrior title on console, I believe, since Mech Assault. So that was a long time ago. So I think that's really the big objective, was to bring it to the consoles finally. It's been, for so long, it's been a PC only franchise. And so really with this update on to the Mechwarrior 5 base game and the Heroes of the Inner Sphere, what we're doing is bringing it back to consoles. And so what they have to look forward to is more updates, hopefully modding, and also the next DLC, which will be coming out in a few months as well, DLC number 2. So, it's just going to be more updates, fixes, mods, hopefully, and another DLC.
Any particular challenge to offering controller support on the console side, or was that just did you
Oh
already
man.
have controller support on Steam? Because I don't know if I've never played it on Steam, so.
No, I will say a big kudos to our team for making that work. It was, I wasn't one of the testers, I wasn't one of the coders or anything like that, but I got to experience probably 6 months of them working to establish, working versions on the Xbox. And there's so many keybinds and so many things that you can do in Mechwarrior. It's not just a simple, WASD and a couple triggers. There's so much functionality that fitting it onto an Xbox controller was a huge task. But like I said, props to the people on our team that were able to accomplish that.
What are you most excited about for people, whether they're on PC or console, to experience with the Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries DLC, Heroes of the Intersphere, to experience?
I would say, the new hero mech missions, the new biome, the extra solar moon. It looks like kind of like the landscape on the picture behind me. The career paths are really fun. Beachhead is super intense. It's a really fun mission. But I think, for everybody, it's going to be different, right? We all have things that we look forward to in gaming. Some people love playing by themselves and getting fully immersed in the storyline and the campaign. And for me, what I love is playing with my friends. And so really, that's what this version of Mechwarrior 5 and Heroes of the Intersphere to me represents, is just a great opportunity to play with your friends, have a good time, full crossplay, DLC compatibility, all of that. For me, it's really about hanging out with my friends, and maybe I'm not as super competitive or as good a gamer as I was when I was younger, and gaming for me has become a bit of a social thing too, right? So I like to just sit around in the evenings and drink and play some Mechwarrior with my buddies or whatever. So, it's so much that is brought to the game with the DLC, Heroes of the Intersphere, but for me, that's what it is. It's really just more opportunity to play with my friends.
That's awesome. And then, Darren, where can they go to find out more information about Mercenaries and Heroes of the Intersphere DLC, and when does it come out?
This is all out now. It came out, I'm going to say 6 days ago. So we haven't gone quite a week yet at the time of this interview. And you can head to mw5mercs.com and you can find all of our links to the various store platforms that it's available. You can head straight to Steam. All the platforms that it's available, it is there, it's listed, and it is ready to be purchased.
It's also available on Game Pass.
Also available on Game Pass. It is everywhere.
It's really a good time to be a gamer, just in general.
Oh yeah.
It's Game Pass and crossplay, and it's insane.
Yes. No, I agree, man. It's technology is amazing. The ease of being able to play games, get a new game, download it, play it 10 minutes later, play with your friends 10 minutes later, all that is amazing. I've always said, you say it's a good time to be a gamer. Within my community, I always say it's a great time to be a Mechwarrior because of all the content that's coming out. And I think there's a lot of crossover there. It's a good time to be a Mechwarrior, and it's a good time to be a gamer. I agree. Yeah, and then another exciting thing with Microsoft PC and Xbox, there's an exclusive hero mech. It's called the Kobold, and you can't get it through any other means. It comes with a complete custom loadout, paint job, which is really cool, and a pilot, an AI pilot called Goblin. So people can hunt that out, find that, and have something that nobody else can get in the game.